Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, everybody, depending on where you are in the world today. A warm welcome to the IGO Community Roundtable. As usual, we're just going to wait another minute, I think, because we see people coming into the waiting room as we speak. So I don't want to do a big welcome until everybody has joined. So bear with us just one more minute, and then we'll have everybody joining at the same time. So. Okay, just to those that are in the process of joining, we're just waiting another 30 seconds at this stage for everybody to come in, because our waiting room is filling up and emptying at the same time as we speak. So just one more small short minute. Okay, I'm going to jump into it because I know that others will join as we speak, but we don't want to wait too long. We have, as usual, a relatively short time for this. So again, to those that have just joined, a very warm welcome to this quarter's IGO Community Roundtable. For those of you that might be joining today for the first time, just to let you know that we have this IGO Community Roundtable every quarter, at the end of every quarter. It's a relatively, I won't say small group, but it's a quite specific group of organizations, people that come together to speak really about new ways to support SMEs become more resource efficient. So typically it's organizations that want or to support SMEs on resource efficiency or are actually doing it. So it can be both types of organizations. And of course, this is part of the larger IGO initiative, which is run by the Green Industry Platform. I don't want to dwell too long on the background to this because I'm hoping that most of you know about it at this stage. However, if anybody has a few questions already at this stage or needs a little bit more information about IGO, do drop a message into the chat, and Tracy and Jenny, my colleagues, will be more than happy to answer any questions about IGO or this roundtable as we go through today. So the agenda for today is very interesting. It's obviously the end of the year, so we wanted to do something, I won't say a little bit different, but quite special. And many of you will have obviously heard about our IGO Assistant, our self-assessment and navigation tool for SMEs. And we often talk about this as a key SME tool. But of course, it's not the only tool out there. And we're more of a navigation tool, an awareness building tool. But there are many, many other very, very good SME resource efficiency, greening operations type assessment tools out there. And today we want to talk in detail about two of these tools, one from ICC and the other from ITC. And I should say the one from ICC, which is the SME 360X, is not just from ICC, it's also done in partnership with GIST. And ITC's tool is called the Green Performance Toolkit. We also have, hopefully in the participants, another tool that's very new, and we might get a little bit of a short introduction to that as well as during our discussion after the presentation on these two tools. So it's a very tool-orientated roundtable today. So I hope that'll be quite interesting for all of you. But in the meantime, what I would like to do is share my screen to do a little bit of a recap of what has happened this year within the IGO initiative, so that you get a quick summary there, and also kind of a little update on our plans for 2024. So I will very quickly just share my screen and launch straight into it. As mentioned, today we're going to have our presentations on the SME tools, but first and foremost, I will give a little recap on the last year. So, in relation to the IGO initiative, as mentioned, the IGO Assistant tool is one of our key activities under the IGO initiative. And what should be, I suppose, highlighted here is that up to the end of this year, we have over 1,200 SME self-assessments now having been taken place under the IGO Assistant tool. We also have introduced 3 new languages for the IGO Assistant tool: Ukrainian, Georgian, and Arabic. That's also to help us expand into those countries. To support SMEs in using the IGO Assistant tool, we've been doing IGO training workshops, as you can see in the 4 regions mentioned here. Also importantly is that we launched IGO for Islands. What this is, Islands is a GEF, a Global Environment Fund project that GGKP is supporting. And it is aiming to help the island nations in the Atlantic, Caribbean, and Indian Pacific regions to help those small islands, island nations improve their chemicals and waste management. Now, obviously, a part of that is supporting SMEs, in particular organizations like recyclers, but also all of the other types of SME businesses on those islands themselves. So we launched IGO as part of that project as well. Now, towards the end of this year, we started a very interesting pilot with EBRD, the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development, and UNIDO, the United Nations Industrial Development Organization, where we are testing out IGO subsites. What does that mean? It's the IGO Assistant tool. It's a kind of a standalone global tool, but what we're now doing is creating a customized version of this tool for the specific use by different types of organizations or projects. It means that they can brand the IGO Assistant tool under their program and use it for their specific purposes. We're testing this out, as I mentioned, with EBRD and UNIDO, and based on the learnings from that, early next year, we will provide a version that can be used by any organization interested in having IGO Assistant for their own use. So a very interesting end of the year pilot. What I should also mention, within the GGKP, that's our overarching organization, the Global Green Growth Knowledge Partnership, there's 2 other projects that are worth mentioning in relation to industry, in particular SMEs. One is our new EU-funded circular economy project. This is going to be providing a lot of core funding to GGKP going forward, where 2 key points to mention are, obviously, we're trying to support SMEs to comply with EU circular economy related regulations. By that, it's essentially focusing on resource efficiency and helping them still access the EU market and meet the various different types of regulations around that. Another area which is very important on an organizational level is how we want to help improve exchange, both on an expertise level and knowledge level between different types of circular economy initiatives. Related to this is also our overall ambition to improve how we manage knowledge overall. And to do this, we are trying to make it easier for organizations to provide us with their knowledge. So we have now an external user knowledge upload system. What does that mean? You can ask for an account for your organization and add knowledge, whatever type of knowledge resource you have, directly onto our platform yourself. And next year in 2024, we will be implementing AI-assisted services to make our knowledge collation, the organization of the knowledge we bring together, the way we analyze it, and the way we provide user adapted search interfaces much more efficiently and effectively. So AI is going to become a core part of our knowledge management approach in 2024, which will ultimately also benefit all of you as well. Here's just a quick recap of two important stakeholder networks that we support. One is our overarching green industry platform knowledge partners. These are organizations that partner with us to focus on knowledge sharing, knowledge management, knowledge generation. And of course, we have our IGO network members. This is organizations that want to work a little bit closer through the IGO initiative. So worth just highlighting those again for anybody that might be interested in becoming a member in either one of these. But with that quick 2023 recap out of the way, what I would like to do is move straight away to the most interesting part of today's agenda. And that is the introduction to these two very interesting tools that I had mentioned before. And if I may, I would like to now pass over to ITC. And I believe that Anna is not here today, but we have Tamari who is going to present, I think. Is that correct?
Yes. Hello, it's correct. Can you hear me well?
I can hear you well. I have stopped sharing my screen. And what I would do, Tamari, is I would ask you to make maybe a quick introduction from your side and then share your screen, provide your presentation, and inform us about the amazing new tool from ITC.
Great, thank you so much. And thank you also for providing the platform to us to be able to showcase the Green Performance Toolkit that we just developed. I'm here with my colleague, Greg, that would be kindly sharing the screen on my behalf because I have some technical challenge. Greg?
Yes, and Hannes, for this, I need the permissions to share my screen. Thank you.
I believe you should be able to do it now. If not, we will double check and do it straight away for you. We have
yes,
it. Okay.
Okay, yeah. Excellent. I see it. Thank you so much, Greg. I'm aware we are short in timing, so I'll right away jump into the presentation. So thanks again for having us here in this webinar, in this session. We're very happy to have partnership with you and having the opportunity to present. If we can go to the next slide. Before I jump into the toolkit, I just want to say a few words about ITC for those colleagues that maybe are not familiar with the organization. So we are a joint agency of UN and WTO based in Geneva, Switzerland. And our core mandate is to work with the small, medium-sized enterprises and to provide trade-related technical assistance to them. Greg and I, we are based in the team of green and inclusive value chains. So we're working in different value chains to enable SMEs green transition, to help them to adopt sustainable business practices. So that's in a nutshell where we are. I would like to go to the next slide now and bring more information about the toolkit itself. So the Green Performance Toolkit, right? What is it? So it is an online solution developed by ITC Trade and Environment team in this year that aims to help businesses to improve their environmental performance across the different categories that you see on this screen, right? So we have EMS, we have energy, water, wastewater, air emissions, GHG emissions, chemicals, and soils. So the businesses that log in the toolkit, they can do the different kind of assessments, right? At the moment, the toolkit allows 2 assessments. So one of them is quantitative and another one is qualitative. So important to know that quantitative assessments, they are available in the different categories: energy, water, wastewater, and waste. And qualitative assessments are available basically for all categories. So based on these assessments, companies can download the reports, can access the results just to see how they are performing into the different energy categories and what are the things that they can improve to further optimize their resources usage. They are also able to access the improvement checklists and learning opportunities that are provided by the tool. Going to the next slide, just a quick word about the main users of the toolkit. So basically there are 2 main categories, right? Direct users and indirect users. So direct users, these are businesses, any kind of businesses It could be small, medium, and large size that would like to establish this data collection system in place. And I would like also to say that this toolkit is particularly adopted to the context of developing and least developed countries, right? And the environment that the businesses are working there. Because we're aware that there are already a lot of different tools existing that are supporting businesses to improve their environmental performance. But some of them may be a bit too complex or complicated for the businesses in the different parts of the world. So we've been really trying to adopt this, make it as more accessible as possible for the businesses in the different landscapes, considering the needs and priorities for the businesses in developing countries. And obviously the indirect users of the toolkit, there are different business supporting organizations, different government agencies that are able to embed this toolkit into their service offering that basically supports the businesses to become sustainable. So going to the next slide, I just want to say a few words why we decided to develop this toolkit and where does it come from. So basically, this toolkit is based on ITC's methodology on resource efficiency and circular production. We have developed this methodology for years now and been implementing in more than 15 countries with more than 200 SMEs, 200 businesses. And this is very in-depth methodology that is like a one-on-one coaching during 3 months that really helps the businesses identify what are their gaps in terms of resource efficiency and then provides them with a strategy to be able to become more sustainable, right? So we have found out that actually a lot of businesses that we work with in developing least developed countries, they don't even have the data collection systems in place. So one of the solutions that we're trying to address with this toolkit is basically to provide the businesses with this opportunity to be able to gather data in a harmonious way, to understand where they are in terms of environmental sustainability, and to do the steps to move ahead, basically to improve their performance. So that's a bit of a little historical overview of why the toolkit. Then moving to the next slide, I just want to quickly summarize here how the businesses can get benefit from it, right? So you see the different opportunities here. First of all, they will be able in the different categories that I mentioned above to identify inefficiency gaps. Because if they basically no monitoring mechanism is in place, they don't even see where they are in terms of environmental performance. So this actually creates a very good overview of where they are in terms of the consuming different environmental resources, right? And understand where they stand, right? Because we are not a standards body or anything related to that, we cannot provide them with any kind of certificate, so to say. But if the SME business already aspires to receive some sort of a certification, with this toolkit, they are already able to collect the data that they might need it actually to apply for the different kind of certification. And then they can use this data for the different purposes. Obviously, either they can go and have to develop the business plans for the green transition and then go to the banks, or they can promote this with their buyers, saying that they're becoming more sustainable by minimizing their resource consumption and so on. So this is in a nutshell what is the benefit for the businesses to use the toolkit. Going to the next slide, I just want to quickly show you how it works. So what are basically the very, very simple 5 steps of working. First of all, they will need to access, and if they already have ITC account, the businesses, because ITC has other tools also, and sometimes businesses already have account, they can easily go there. It's a single sign-on. And then they can run different assessments. It's not mandatory to do all of them. The businesses can choose themselves what kind of assessment they are most interested in. And then they can play with the toolkit, so to say, access the different improvement checklists, learning materials, download the reports, and so on and so forth. And finally, I just want to show you in a little screenshot how the assessments look like. But it's just a screenshot. We will go now with my colleague Greg in the demo part, where he will be able to show us in live version how this looks like. But basically, that's in a nutshell the presentation. Happy to hand over to Greg and then listen to your feedback and questions. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Tamari. And let me take over and just show you some live insights into the application itself. My name is Greg, and I represent the IT team at the International Trade Center, who was responsible for implementing and now maintaining the solution. So it's a public website. You have seen the the URL, and actually we can paste it in the chat as well. And once you access it, you have just a basic intro and then a selection of rapid assessments, as we call them, just giving it a quick entry point to the application to the users. Initially, the tool was designed for the textile and apparel industry. Then we customized the questions and the content to agri-food sector as well. And in the future, we plan to expand to other sectors as necessary. And from this perspective, we just select the sector and then one of the areas, and you start just the self-assessment, which is basic qualitative questionnaire, which allows you to answer some questions about in this case, energy efficiency. You get some hints already based on your answers. And then as a user, you can save or access this information as well once you log into your account. So this is where we also separate the things that is just open to the public as a quick entry point versus the more advanced features with a dashboard and other tools that we foresee in a toolkit. So I'll just log into my test account where I will find navigation menu on the left. And then when I jump to the energy parts, I will see the rapid assessment, which I just started, which is in progress. And also I will have access to any other data collection or quantitative assessments that I might have started or concluded. From this point, I can edit my assessment or just see what I have entered before. And also I can initiate the new assessments. I will not go into details, but let me just show you, for example, how the data collection looks like. For example, there is a form, there's a questionnaire which collects information about electricity from power grid consumption. And there, what we have is a basic form which allows the company to specify their energy consumption per month or just generally per year. And then this information is then saved and used throughout the system. And again, we have this kind of tools available throughout the areas like energy, water, wastewater that Tamari mentioned. Interesting part of the systems is the reports and analysis feature. It both allows you to download just the PDF with the assessment if you'd like to share this with somebody. But then also, if you have collected information over several years, you will be able to have like a basic visualization of your, in this case, energy consumption, the consumption, the target, and the difference that you might be getting. It's a basic tool, and we foresee this as like an entry point for many of the SMEs who will be just sensitized to data collection. That's why we foresee that for some of them it will be like a first step towards more complex systems or applications. From this perspective, they can export the data that they already collected in a simple Excel template so that they can, for example, import it in more advanced tool. What else? Aside from the assessments, Tamari also mentioned access to other tools. So we have a set of checklists, which again are a set of basic yes/no questionnaires grouped across areas like energy, water, and waste. And then I can select more focus area and answer some yes/no questions. And the tool, again, based on the responses, will give you some tips or suggestions, in this case, related to the lightning operations and use. And also the team prepared a quite extensive library and collection of links and information that is also relevant when it comes to the resources efficiency and the materials related to that. Yeah, you can find more information about the tool itself in the FAQ. And then also we do have a place where we allow the company to collect information about the business, which is also very helpful when we as ITC go to the company and work with them on some improvements or ask a consultant to actually work with the company. Being mindful of time, I will stop there. Again, the tool is publicly available, and feel free to have a look. Otherwise, we will be open for any questions. Now or later, up to you, Hannes.
Thank you very much to both of you. I know we were putting you under a lot of pressure to share a lot of information in a short time. But I'll just ask Greg if you could just stop sharing your screen. Perfect. Yeah, thank you very much. But much appreciated for the introduction. And I think one thing that you said at the end is the way that this tool is publicly available. It's out there for any SME organization to easily access and use. And I think that's quite an important thing to emphasize to everybody, the fact that it's publicly available. We won't start the discussion on this just yet, and I'm sure there'll be plenty of questions on it, because I want to move straight away to another tool, which is also an assessment tool. But if I may, Anna, also say that it has a slightly different emphasis in that it's aiming to work on a kind of a supply chain level with a supply chain leader and the suppliers. So similar type of tool, but with a different emphasis on how it's applied. So also equally interesting. But I won't spoil the show, Anna. I think I can hand straight over to you, and we can learn a lot more about the ICC tool, 360.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Hans. And thank you, Tamaris and Greg, for that presentation. It looks like a very interesting tool, and I'm sure we'll have enough time to have questions and discussion about it. But really, really happy to see this kind of initiatives just going more, gaining popularity and seeing more action towards SMEs. So first of all, thank you everyone for the opportunity to talk to you about SME 360X and our work that we've been doing here at ICC along with GIST Impact. My name is Ana Bernal. I represent ICC, and I'm a business development coordinator, and my main areas of focus are sustainability, entrepreneurship, and SMEs. So as previously has mentioned, SMEs are pivotal to our economy, yet there remains a significant gap hindering their easier integration into the green transition, and it's motivating to witness a shared commitment in this forum to provide targeted support for SMEs, ushering them through their sustainability journey. ICC has been actively pursuing this goal as well through our pillar of accelerating sustainability and climate action, and our approach has been multifaceted, given that it involves first the policy department, which is dedicated to developing research and advocating for smoother business transitions towards sustainability. And then additionally, on our second stance is the global partnerships department that spearheads projects that place SMEs at the forefront, ensuring that there's an inclusive participation in sustainability objectives through facilitating solutions like SME 360X and also capacity building. Given our expertise, knowledge, and vast network, we stand in a privileged position that allows us to really attest to the needs of the private sector and be the voice and driver of businesses everywhere, all the way from micro businesses and startups to multinationals. Now, it's in our experience that we've seen that collaborating with partners amplifies our impact, and a noteworthy example is our collaboration with GIST Impact and UPS. So as Hans mentioned before, we're currently working with some supply chain leaders, which is UPS, where we build the Green Exporters Program. This combined capacity building on green trading and also the SME 360X assessment solution that empowers SMEs to comprehend, measure, and reduce their environmental impacts more easily. So our fruitful partnership with GIST Impact, which are the technical co-developers of SME 360X, was born out of this shared objective of supporting SMEs through the green transition. The collaboration was initiated and driven by none other than ICC Secretary General John Denton and GIST Impact CEO, economist Pavan Sukhdev. They both recognize the need for valuable support to SMEs to navigate the sustainability frameworks and standards, and this led to the combination of the SME 360X assessment solution that we will be presenting today. So in the past year, our collaboration has made strides. The assessment solution has been deployed in 6 countries, benefiting over 500 SMEs all across Latin America, India, and Singapore through the Green Exporters Program. And it has really been a process of learning and also hand-holding these SMEs to start measuring. I really like the point that was mentioned before, that it's really an entry solution that allows SMEs to start understanding what needs to be collected and how to decrease their environmental impacts, along with their supply chain leaders and within their own business objectives. So this collaboration, JET, is another testimony of how a mix of diverse stakeholders leveraging their respective strengths of technological innovation, network access, and expertise can bring higher impact and stronger results to a common goal. I'll now pass the floor to my colleague Anupama from GIST Impact, and she will be sharing more insights about the assessment solution itself. Feel free to engage in the discussion by posting any questions, but also keep in mind that we've allocated a couple of minutes for Q&A at the end of our presentation. Anupama, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Anna, and thank you, Hannes, for this opportunity. Very nice to be here and meet you all. And lovely tool, Tamari and Greg. Very nice to see, there are many forces in the market today with this shared mission that we have to support SMEs, especially in their environmental and sustainability journey. And in the process, make it informative for them, educative for them, and also keep incentives as well as to include their participation and keep encouraging it. And that is where I'd like to begin with, the resource and the educative bit of it. The Green Exporters Program that Anna mentioned was part of the UPS's mission to drive 5,000 SMEs to sort of understand what their environmental impact is on due to their operations, but also the incentive was to create it via the much needed ICC certification, which acts as an incentive for them to come and participate in the journey. Where GIST Impact comes from, which is what the recognized, the organization I represent today, is the technical expertise, the impact estimation capabilities, and converting, environmental impact, which we all know as, Scope 1, Scope 2 emissions, water consumption, biodiversity, waste, converting all of that into one language, which is a financial language. We specialize in monetary evaluation, so we are able to convert how 1 ton of GHG emissions actually costs to the society. So we attach a dollar value to it. That sort of brings all other conversations into the same plane. What their revenue was, what their cost was, and specifically what their impact was in one single language. So that makes it easy to compare and easy to also take relevant action. Coming to the SME 360X tool itself, and Anna touched about it, we reached more than 6 countries in under 4 months. Currently, we have more than 500 SMEs live using the platform today, and most of them have completed the assessment and also claimed the ICC certificate that comes as part of the certificate as well. The main reason we wanted to also develop this platform is that we wanted to make sure there was reduced barrier to entry, in terms of they did not need to have any environmental data in hand for them to understand what their impact was. Very easily available data such as, what sector they belong to, where are they located, what is their revenue, and what is their employee count. With just that, SME 360X today is able to estimate what their impact is, and not just that, give some recommendations as well, because we do not want to just stop at this is your score and this is what you look like, but we also want to encourage them to look forward. So there are very easily actionable recommendations that is provided as part of the platform itself. And apart from that, there is also another very good initiative that ICC has brought in, which is setting pledges. So again, using what their current, impact score is and how they are affecting the environment, they can choose to set pledges. It can be very simple pledges such as, I will reduce my GHG emissions, or I will recycle more waste in my next assessment year. It can be anything simple that they might have in mind. So they get to set pledges and come back and retake the assessment so that they see how their progress is. I'm happy to share slides as well, but Anna and I, we discussed, we wanted to keep it as interactive as possible and share information and also hear from you. So we'd love to have an open mic platform as well, but completely your call, Hannes.
Maybe Is there any chance that you could actually just show the tool live, even just for a minute or two, just so that people can see it as a functioning tool? I think that could be quite interesting to the audience.
Absolutely. I'm happy to bring it up as we speak. But Anna, if there's anything you'd like to add while I bring it up, please feel free to do that.
Yeah, of course. Thank you, Anupama. Yeah, I think you mentioned the certification. I think that's a point that would be valuable for me to expand on. The objective of the certification that ICC provides to the SMEs that have gone through the SME 360X process. First, it's three. I can name it in three ways. First is to award and to motivate SMEs to enroll and to continue their progress towards sustainability. This really gives the continuity of the progress for SMEs to cover all of the different parts of the assessment. So the first level of certification, as you can see now in the screen, is that the company has acknowledged that the climate imperative and they have completed their first environmental impact assessment using the solution. So as Anupama was saying, with just including a few basic data points of the company, the solution, and because of GIST Impact's methodology, is able to deliver an assessment like score of the impact that the SME is having on the environment. And then the second level of the certificate is what she also mentioned about the pledges. So the company has committed to reduce its environmental impacts, and it's setting pledges via the solution. And that these two certificates also allows SMEs to show their milestones on sustainability to their stakeholders, like financing bodies, clients, supply chain leaders, and other organizations who might be interested on knowing more about the SME. And thirdly, the certification also allows us to successfully engage SMEs into the collection and assessment process for an easier integration into the future of what the international frameworks and compliance requirements are going to be. And perhaps it'd be helpful if you could also share what kind of information is asked from SMEs, and for them to see as you were mentioning, the educational part of it. It's really a hand-holding process that an easy, very easy process for SMEs to go through and have that first assessment.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Anna. What you're seeing on my screen is sort of the two-step impact journey process that we have highlighted for the SMEs to go through. And the first part is taking the assessment, understanding where they are, and the next is looking forward. I'll show you what the questionnaire and the journey looks like so you see how easy it is. If I just go to the questionnaire itself, we ask for very easily available information. First, we ask the SME to choose their sector, and it's over 150 sectors that we have as a drop-down. And once that is done and they have set their location, we ask for them to choose the assessment period they'd like to be evaluated against. And this, again, is not restricted to a calendar year or a financial year. It is a very simple drop-down. They can choose the starting month and year, and simply the 12th month will be calculated. With that, we go on to ask for two other mandatory data points. One is on an average employee count that might be there for the assessment period they just selected. And lastly, the revenue. Revenue becomes important because this is the core component of turning the impacts into the US dollars. So again, it is not at all restricted to any of the currency that they might want to select from. All the global currencies are populated here. Once this is done, we have all the information we need to calculate the sort of environmental impact they have. And as you might have seen, we go beyond GHG emissions. We cover air pollution, water consumption, water and land pollution, waste generation, and biodiversity. Any of the questionnaire going forward from here is optional. If they have scope 1 emissions data, or if they have their waste generation quantity data, they can choose to input that. If not, it's completely fine. They can simply skip the section and go towards the results. And I think that's where I will focus the rest of the 2 minutes that we have. So you see what the result looks like and how that can be used by the SMEs themselves. We give an overall impact performance score. And here, as you can see, it's 62 percentile, which means to say that they're doing much better than 62% of their peers in the same sector and in the same region that they originally selected. And we break it down into how the entire impact is coming from each of the drivers. For example, here you see waste generation is the biggest contributor to the overall $5,200 impact here. So that gives an indication on where they should focus their initiative next. They can choose to recycle more waste or divert it away from landfill, and that will reduce their overall negative impact. We've tried to keep it as dynamic as possible with respect to the dashboard. So if I simply click on different drivers, the respective values in terms of impact and the insights and recommendations get populated. We definitely encourage the SMEs to view and download the full report, and it's easily downloadable as a PDF. This is something they can submit to their supply chain leaders, investors, other stakeholders, or sometimes even their customers. So they can simply see how they're performing in the entire year, compare it with respect to the benchmark as well with all of the drivers, and get some recommendations on what to do next. It's a very user-friendly tool, but also has a lot of resources for the SMEs to take advantage of. There are pre-populated FAQs as part of the resources. There are videos to see how to navigate the platform. And there is a live chatbot as well as part of the customer support tool, where dedicated customer support managers sit behind the tool and help the SMEs resolve any query that they may have during the assessment. With that, I'll bring it to a wrap of our demo. More than happy to share more information and answer any questions you may have. Over to you, Hannes.
Thank you both very, very much. And normally I would say let's go straight into a discussion, but I want to throw another tool into the mix. One can never have enough tools. And one thing I do want to say is we are deliberately trying to bring as many tools as we can into this roundtable, because all of us working together will still not manage to deal with all the SMEs that are out there. So I see each tool having its specific target audience. You can already see different approaches, different ways. And now I want to actually invite Dennis Schaefer to talk about a self-assessment tool that has been deployed in Myanmar. And this one is very country specific. And I think, Dennis, you can give us maybe a quick introduction, and then I think your colleague Wei will actually show it on screen, if I'm not correct. So we were normally just going to do a little talk about discussion, but we're doing good on time. So I think it's a good chance to throw another tool onto the screen, especially because it's country specific.
Yeah, thank you, Hannes. And I'm very happy to talk here, and I'm very impressed by the tools which we see so far. So very short to us. My name is Dennis, like Hannes introduced me already. I'm the team leader for the Prevent Plastics project. The Prevent Plastics project is a grant project under the Switch Asia facility. It is being implemented by SEQA, which is a German development organization, and we are implementing the project here in Myanmar. The tool is called RefTrack. My colleague Wei, she is sharing it already on the screen. And RefTrack is standing for Resource Efficiency Tracking. So, and you can find it under ref-track.com. So it is a tool for, especially developed for Myanmar MSMEs, where they can log in and where they can make a account, and then they can it's free for using, and they can log in, they can make an account, and they can type in all kind of resources which they are using in their production processes, and they can also later show what is for what they are using the resources, and what is later coming out with the finished product. So we developed the tool especially for Myanmar companies. So we have here all the units which are used in Myanmar. For example, in many companies here in Myanmar, they are still using this FIS, which is, I think, 3.4 kg. So you can choose the units, you can choose kg, you can choose FIS, you can use also other units, for example, liter or something. depending on your resources. You can put in the resources, and then you can put in the resources which you had in the beginning and later which is coming out. And the specialty is if you have a database of at least 3 months with your resources which you are using, we have some reporting functions where you can print it out as a PDF, which you can attach later to your CSR report. All these things are quite new for Myanmar, so the tool is really quite basic, but there are also some assessment tools like, Wei, can you go back one time? There was a good picture of this. There are some assessment tools that you can really monitor your resource usage, where you can see how much you used. Maybe you are implementing some new things for resource reduction. Then you can monitor how efficient it was. And later you can, like I said, print out a PDF version, which you can attach to your CSR report. The interesting part is, of course, it's free of charge for all the MSMEs who are using it. It was basically paid by EU grant money. And which is also interesting for the MSMEs is we don't have direct access to the data of the MSMEs. So if they create an account there and if they log in and type in their data, so this is only they can access there and only they can see this. Later, what we have is we can see the overall data over the all industries, but we don't have specific data which the companies are typing in. We launched the tool 2 weeks ago, and until now we have already, I think, over 80 MSMEs who make now their own account, who are using the tool. It is too early to say if it's successful or not, and it is early to see how much they are using the tool. But I think we have a good start, and now we are promoting this tool. It is on the one hand for the Myanmar market. On the other hand, it can be also used for other countries, since you can choose your own units. You can choose also everything what you have to import. You can choose by yourself for the data. So it could be probably also interesting for other countries. And it will be on the IGO platform soon. So if you are interested, you can also find it there. Now I also introduced the tool to you, but I would like to ask my colleague Wei if I covered everything or if she wants to add something.
Dennis covered pretty well, so I don't have any additional inputs, but it is a startup platforms where everyone has access for free. And if you have SMEs or connection with SMEs, I would love your support to share the platform with your connection so that it is useful for them as well. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Wei. And then, yeah, that's it already. It was a very brief and quick introduction. So back to you, Hannes, and thank you very much for that we were able to present it here.
No, thank you, Dennis. It's much appreciated that you could do it on such short notice as well. So we have thrown at everybody 3 very, very interesting tools, and I've noticed a number of questions already appearing in the chat. So what I would suggest is please do raise your hand if you have a particular question to ask. But having seen that Arthur has been asking many questions already himself and has a long list, maybe Arthur, before you even put up your hand, could I pass to you and let you pose some of your questions to the speakers? And I think you've also maybe some interesting insights as well.
Yes, thank you, Hannes. I don't have the questions in front of me at the moment because the chat keeps disappearing. Oh, here it is. Yeah, one of them was about the certification, and actually I already got an answer, but it's very interesting because this, in the opinion of Ecopreneur, the European Sustainable Business Federation, of which I am the director, it is very important that a self-assessment is not used for say certification or a label or anything, and for claims, for green claims, if this is not externally verified. Because if you allow that, then you open the floodgates for greenwashing. And that makes the situation for the front runners in our membership only worse. Now I see that you do this as a kind of first stage, and yeah, hooray! I mean, it's fantastic that you're doing this. But I just want to point out the risk of greenwashing for a tool which in itself it has fantastic value.
Yes, thank you, Arthur. Just to quickly respond on that, I know that we've already discussed in the chat, but 100%. I think this is, as I mentioned, a first step for SMEs to start measuring, and we completely, as Anupam mentioned, shared your concern, and we look. What we recognize is that the SMEs has gone through the assessment through the platform. There's no way we're claiming that an SME is sustainable or whatsoever. Like, there's no definition of that certificate doing that. So I appreciate the comment, and we're quite aware that it's for the motivation of SMEs to continue working on this data collection, and we're giving that recognition that they're starting to measure, collect data, and set pledges to decrease their impacts in the environment.
Let me move quickly to Greg, because I think you might like to respond to Arthur as well, after which I'll turn to Peter, who I think has a question as well.
Thank you. Indeed, I just wanted to follow up on this data verification piece, because we are also considering this for the tool that we have shown from the ITC. We feel, and well, we got the feedback that if there is any way of SME to have the data verified by the consultant or third party, it will dramatically increase the value of the data collected so that they can use it in any means. And again, without, so our ambition is not to go into certification, not really, or to give any claims, but to, again, add some extra layer of credibility to the data so that they can use it in a bank, and then let the receiver of the data evaluate how credible it is. So yeah, the comments that you made were very relevant in this aspect. Thanks.
Thank you both very much, and I'll have a few comments on that as well in a minute, but I do believe, Peter, that you had your hand raised for a question as well. Can you hear me, Peter? I can see that you have your mic on, but we can't hear you yet.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, thank you so much, Hans, for this presentation. I have two questions. The first one, can we use the first tool, the by ITC to like to evaluate a company for a certification for a green development certificate, in terms of if for example Uganda develops one, can we use that tool to assess a company for that assess to identify whether a company can be certified in that? Then for the second tool which was presented, I kind of see that, for example, if I choose the sugar sector, the comparison is to the sectors in that country. If that tool is to be applied to Uganda, does it mean that we have to recustomize it to reach the Ugandan standard, to ensure that it has database on Ugandan industry so that it can be classified, or we are considering it to benchmark it with the best industries in the world? Then I'm sorry to add the third one, is that can we able to access these experts who have been involved in developing this tool? If we could have a one-on-one discussion with our compliance assistance department here in Uganda at National Environmental Management Authority, if we could have a virtual discussion. Thank you so much. Maybe, sorry, I'm asking many. Then I saw some programs that are being implemented in Europe. Is there opportunities for Uganda to tap in? Thank you so much. I submit.
Thank you, Peter. I think you've given plenty of questions for our speakers, but I think they're very valuable. And just to note, I think your question is based on, could a organization like yours use that tool to work directly with SMEs, so that you're essentially, as an organization, using that tool with SMEs. So maybe, Greg, I think the first question was really directed at you. I hand over to you, Greg.
Yeah, so you, as I understand, you asked if the data that we collect in our tool can be used for any certification. So again,
If your tool could be used to help certifiers.
Yeah. I cannot answer with certainty, but our hope is that if there are certification schemes or certifiers that require SMEs to collect information about their energy usage or any other resource efficiency, then yes, hopefully the tool that we provide can help SME to show how they are actually fulfilling these requirements indirectly. But then again, it's a tool mostly more for the SMEs, not for the verifiers or certifiers themselves.
I think Anna was kind of the next one was you in relation to adapting also for the Ugandan situation, if data could be incorporated from Uganda into your tool.
Thanks, Anna. I'm gonna leave the floor to Anupam on the benchmarking question. Thanks.
Okay.
Thanks, Anna, and thank you for the question, Peter. Absolutely, that's a very pertinent question, and it's a yes. It can be used for any sector and any location in the entire globe. We have benchmarks and coefficients for every single region in the entire world, and the way we've done that is we've divided the entire globe into 50 by 50 square kilometer grid so that the impacts are location specific. So based on what location you choose right at the beginning of the setup, you're able to get a very location specific impact and recommendations and even, certificates as such. And it's available not just for, the sugar sector that you mentioned, but more than 150 sectors that we have in our dropdown. I hope that clarifies.
Thank you. And there was a question then also from Peter about the EU programs in terms of how they could support Ugandan SMEs. I think this is primarily in relation to the EU-funded program that GGKP has, which is on circular economy. It doesn't support SMEs directly, but it is there to support organizations in developing countries better support SMEs. So Peter, this is a discussion we could have as well, how we can work directly with you under that project. There's no financial support. Under this project, we don't provide any financial support, but it is more about how to help exchange between organizations, so how we can connect your organization to others. But at the same time, I believe Arthur is involved in Ecopreneur and maybe another one. I don't know, Arthur, how relevant your programs that you work on are for countries outside the EU?
We are again in a project proposal stage because 2 years ago there was a call for setting up circularity hubs with vouchers in the EU, and we applied for it and we came very high, but we just didn't make the mark because there were 2 projects granted and there were 329 applicants. We're now reapplying with more or less the same consortium in February. So we hope that in a few months we will get the grant, but we're not there yet. And meanwhile, Ecopreneur keeps doing advocacy in Brussels to make clear how important it is for SMEs in the EU. We have like 25 or so million of them, to provide them with support at a regional level. DG Environment is now starting an initiative for, say, like maybe what you're doing, to have like a central database and information, maybe even an online open course. I don't know what they're exactly planning, but this will not reach the majority of the SMEs. You need regional representation for that. So that's why we have asked for 100 regional circularity hubs, and with a starting budget of, say, 150 million euros. But it's nowhere. I mean, this is just our advocacy.
Okay. What I will do to close this particular round of questions is ask ICC and ITC, maybe you could drop your contact details directly there for Peter, because just as Peter's quite involved from his organization in Uganda in supporting SMEs, and I think it could be quite an interesting connection to make with both of your programs. So I'd recommend making, if you can, make the connection there. It would be quite an interesting exchange already, I think. Let me move to the next question. Andre, you had your hand up next. Maybe I can pass to you.
Yes, thanks, Hannes. It's kind of hard to comment on 3 tools in a row, but yeah, still, I like it very much. As a director of Resource Efficient Cleaner Production Center from Ukraine, I was also involved into assessments of companies, and I know how important data is, and such tools for sure should help companies to collect this data and also make it easier for external life easier for external consultants. And what I saw from that tools, that they are, all of them are doing some quality analysis, and it's good. It looks like this AGO recipe assistant, to be honest. But maybe the difference is that in these tools, they are already providing some options for companies, some resource efficiency options. What I saw, for example, adjust lighting, and it's, to be honest, I'm not a big fan of that thing. And according to methodology, usually you need to do the assessment and then provide options, not to do this, very basic and first looking options from the beginning. Just take some time, but still and that's why I prefer, for example, I'm more like this way of IGO assistant, provide guidelines, not an option, but guidelines how to find the option for you. But for the tools, I see that they have this similarity, but also they have very interesting different parts. And for example, for first tool, I saw this also they have this quantitative analysis. It's very interesting, and my first question for that tool will be if they have, because what I saw, it was just a table of yearly consumption, but do you have some kind of benchmarks, etc., all of the stuff that actually I saw that on certain tools they have it like in this ref track. It was, I think, there, and it's first question for the first two, if they had some additional features for data collection and data analysis, really analysis, and if they will develop that tool, and do they have any plans to develop that tool. And for the second tool, I like this SME 360X. By the way, it seems that you will have legal issues with Microsoft about that naming, but because my first thing was about Xbox and X360 service. But that tool actually is very interesting about the certificates, because what we know from working with companies, usually they don't have formal strategy and about resource efficiency, energy efficiency, or what, they don't have it at all. So this certificate and these pledges could be something formal that as to prove their commitment to resource efficiency. So it's very interesting feature. And also, as I also want to say that validating of these things, if you should put it on this self-assessment or do some validation, and it could be interesting. So my question to that team is if you want to do this validation part for your tool. And for the third tool, yes, it's interesting. I also haven't explored more. I saw that some models of analysis and benchmarks, and they were not covered in presentation, just appears and then disappear. So if you have it, please maybe could you elaborate about it part?
Thank you, Andriy. And maybe we'll start from the back, because you were talking about benchmarking and you had a question directly for, I think, maybe Dennis. If you're still there, Dennis, or Wei, you might just quickly answer Andriy on his question about the benchmarking.
Yes. Yeah. Hi, Andriy. Thank you for your question. Yeah, we were unfortunately not really able to present the whole tool. We have some benchmarking and we have some analysis tools also inside. I would really suggest you in the chat we sent the link, and there are 2 videos. They are only like 2 minutes or something. It's a tutorial video. We have it in English and in Burmese. So I guess you cannot speak Burmese, so I would rather suggest you to watch the English video. And it is very brief, and it is all it is all there. And if you are interested, like I said, I mean, the tool, we developed it for Myanmar, but I think it could be also interesting for MSMEs outside of Myanmar. And maybe I want to add just one sentence, because what we see right now, and I think everywhere it's a little bit similar, also especially in Myanmar, because of our political crisis here and because of the situation right now in the country, we have also very high inflation. So the resource prices are really, really getting expensive. So the MSMEs want to save resources to reduce their costs. Otherwise, they are not, you know, they are not profitable. They cannot survive in these harsh conditions. So even though we are coming from the environmental background and we want that the people save resources to save the environment, but what is happening right now is that it's also business-wise very interesting to save every cent from the resources. So therefore, we have really a big interest on the tool. So for us, it's only a self-assessment. We don't have any certificates or anything that we are giving out, but it is just a tool for the MSMEs that they can really track and monitor the resources. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. I don't know, Greg, Anna, if you want to jump in on this one as well.
Yeah. Thank you, Hans. Thank you, Andre. I think you were asking about data validation and this whole certification process, and it's right that we wanted to provide a path, an easy path for SMEs to get an easier integration of sustainability objectives, right? Like we wanted to give that easy process and some like correct guidance for SMEs on how to really integrate, because they really didn't really don't know where to start. So it was via the collection, and then via the collection of data, having the assessment, and then setting pledges that we see the start of the journey. And then furthermore in the future, as you were mentioning, in that open interest also from us to start validating that kind of information and make those certifications recognize more than just their own input of information. So definitely something to look forward to. And also taking advantage, I know that we have a very busy agenda and limited time to present all the different products, but happy to connect with anyone. I believe that we've already shared our emails on the chat. So if you'd like to talk more in detail about the different the solution and the different steps that we're considering, do not hesitate to send us an email. I'm also saying this because I'm gonna have to jump out, the same as Anupama, a bit earlier today. I have another meeting, but thank you very much for inviting us. It was a great panel, and happy to be invited again and share a bit more of insights and best practices and experiences with other either products, organizations, etc. I mean, this is the point is to get together, connect, and multiply our impact. So great initiative, Hans, and thank you for inviting us.
Thank you very much, Anna. It's much appreciated. Now, I see one that Andre has his hand up again. I didn't know if you wanted to add to your previous question. I might give you that chance. You can throw more at Greg.
I'd just like to say thank you for all the answers, and I forgot to invite everybody to our conference on green circular economy in Ukraine. So I just put some links in the chat. Thanks. It could be interesting because we will cover policy, we will cover practical examples in Ukraine, and also practice, and also some knowledge management.
Thank you very much, Andre. Now, I could hand over to Greg if there was any other, if you wanted to build on anything that Andrew said. Otherwise, I could maybe first of all see if anybody else has a particular question that they'd like to raise to the panel. I know that there's a number of people here involved in SME projects, so maybe now is your opportunity to either put a specific question to any of the people who've presented tools, or even talk about how those tools might be relevant for your project. I'm just looking very carefully to see if there's any hand going up. If not, what I'd like to do is I'm going to actually pluck somebody out of the audience because I know they have a very interesting project that they're starting on. Jesse, I'm putting you on the spot, but I happen to know that you're involved in an interesting project in support through UNIDO. I'm just wondering if in your SME project you could see a particular use for this type of tools, knowing where your SMEs are starting off from. Are they ready for this type of tool? Is it something that would come in later on in the project? Maybe you could give a bit of insight in relation to your project and how tools like this might be able to apply. Could I pull you out of the audience for that,
Hannes.
maybe?
Yeah, Hannes, thank you very much. It's a pleasure being here and also with colleagues. So we are implementing a UNIDO project in Nigeria. It's focusing more on resource efficiency and cleaner production, methodology, and the industrial energy efficiency methodology. So these are two broad methodologies that were brought together seamlessly and is being implemented in Nigeria with across the country for over 70 countries, 70 companies. Now, before now, this is the first of its kind that project is being implemented in a country. There have been efforts in the past where projects like this will want to implement in silos. When I mean in silos, things regarding a resource efficiency and cleaner production. But we have not really gotten any traction, any what we'll say data that can be used for the country. And recently we just launched the IGO assistant tool to manufacturing companies in different sectors. And their assessments about it is that it has given them a very good perspective into how they see the operations from a different angle. Like I said before now, experts, we have to go to the company, we have to explain to them. First, there must be a buy-in, there must be some kind of orientation about what resource efficiency is, what energy efficiencies and cleaner production. And it took us a lot of time. But now with this tool, the clients and the companies could see from their own perspective, because it takes them through stages, asking them very, very important questions, and they are very simple. And they just feel, and at the end of the day, it shows them where they are and where they should be. And for us in Nigeria and for these companies, it's a big step ahead. A step ahead in the sense that it makes our job as consultants and experts much easier, and with the graphics and with the display that it gives them, that recommendation that it gives them at the end, it makes our job more easier. So it takes us a step further with them knowing, okay, this is where my weaknesses are, these are where my strengths are, and this is where I will focus. So by the time we are coming in to sign that initial commitment with them, or seek their willingness, or they carry out any initial assessment, they already know where we want to start from. And then you will just see from the beginning, by the time we step into the company, that they are very open. They are not skeptical. They are very open to knowing how they can contribute to achieving their desired results. So for us, this IGO assistant self-assessment tool has been very, very productive, helpful in our operations. And we are looking forward to really see how much companies, or a larger group of companies across the country, will start using these tools the tool going forward. And we think that it will really create a substantive data set, which we will use in the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jesse. And I think what was interesting about what you said there is you're starting off from scratch with a large number of SMEs, and you've used the IGO Assistant tool to literally build awareness. And understand from what stage you're going to start working with these SMEs on. What I think is also interesting about the 3 tools we've just seen is they're the ones that take the next step. The SMEs have a bit of awareness, they want to get involved, and now they really want to measure where are they currently at in terms of data, in terms of measurement. And I think the 3 tools we've seen are a very, very good next step going beyond the awareness building. They're saying, okay, now sit down and analyze exactly how much energy, how much water, etc. you're using in these key points. And also, to a degree, track your performance as you change over time. And I think they're a really very important next step type of tool that goes beyond just saying, this is what resource efficiency is, this is what you should be thinking about in resource efficiency. It really helps to take the next step. Now, we have literally, right this minute, run out of time for this particular workshop. It's been a great, great pleasure to have all of you take part. Thank you so much to everyone today for joining, and most importantly to the 3 tool owners, I'll put it that way because there's been many of you today, for presenting your tools. It really has been a great pleasure to see these somewhat in action. I do hope that the people taking part today will be able to use these tools, will reach out to you for more information. I think we need these and more tools if we really want to reach as many SMEs as possible, in particular on a national level. And I would point out again, the interest, for example, shown by Peter for Uganda. Again, I think there's some very interesting opportunities to get country specific with your tools if you so wish. So I hope that's an opportunity for you as well. Next year, we will be back again with another set of IGO roundtables, and of course, lots more work as well. There'll be a lot more tool development happening from our side as well. So more tools, it's all about tools, but hopefully we'll be able to provide you a lot more information as well in relation to our EU-funded circular economy project, because we'll be doing a lot more around exchange between organizations as part of that project as well. So let me wish all of you a wonderful end of year, a wonderful new year, a wonderful holiday period, and I look forward very much to seeing all of you again in the new year. Wishing you all the very best.
Thank you all. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you all. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much. Bye.